Grand risings. It is very cold today. It is very chilly. But the frost looks beautiful. And the bird song is really crisp and clear because it's so cold. But yes, it's very, very cold. So you shall have to forgive me if my mouth doesn't work properly. It feels very numb. I've been sat out here doing my meditating and having my coffee and making some little plans for the up and coming year. And it kind of inspired me to make a video. I've not really felt like making any videos over the last week. Just because I've wanted to take I've just felt naturally drawn to being a bit more inwards when I have had spare time. Trying to take the precious moments before the thing kicks in, before the new year kicks in, before everybody goes back to work and it's like, you know, I've got stuff to do and appointments to make and assessments to do, and just all the things, just the things that we have to do. And yeah, it's just felt naturally done. It hasn't felt forced. I've not, you know, sometimes I suppose I know some people that make videos can sometimes feel like, you know, they have to keep them up and they have to keep them going and they have to keep the content going, and I don't know, fear of not keeping up with the stuffs. But it hasn't I've not felt that way. I only really like to make videos when I feel drawn to them. So sometimes I might have a surge of like making loads, and then I'll have like I suppose it ebbs and flows. It's the natural way, right? The natural way. But yeah, the last sort of week, over just after Christmas and over the New Year, we've taken the little period of quiet and slow to spend more time indoors, to spend more time resting, to spend more time recuperating, reflecting, and trying to take stock, I suppose is the right word, evaluate the year that's gone. And it has been a tumultuous year. It's been a very tumultuous year. I don't know about anybody else, but 2024 felt like the year of just relentless battle after battle after battle after battle. And I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm quite a positive person, and even I found it quite difficult to stay positive throughout last year. Yeah, definitely. But that's not to say it's been all negative. It hasn't all been negative at all. Like even the tough battles and the struggles and the life-changing events. We've had a lot of life-changing events in our house, which obviously has a domino effect on other events in your life and other situations and circumstances. Like if you have a life-changing event, it means it's a life-changing event. You can't just carry on everything else around it. Everything else around it has to change to fit that life-changing event. And, you know, it takes time and it takes processing to do it properly. If you're going to do it properly and efficiently, it takes time to process. And I think that's kind of what we've been doing over this last week. We've been processing all of the things that we've experienced over the year and all of the things that, you know, we've done. That, you know, we've done a lot of good things over the year. We've done, you know, wow, like I think about the things I've done over the last year. It's been amazing. It's been so amazing. I've kicked a few habits that resurfaced. So like the life-changing events, I'm not gonna lie, did cause me to slip into old habits, old crutches, old coping mechanisms. And I gave myself grace and compassion for them. Like, I didn't beat myself up about them. I accepted, like, okay, this is just where I am now. This is not a forever. This is not an always. Nothing is always an always. There is never an always. And so I gave myself grace and compassion, and I took the time to go, okay, what am I learning from this space? What am I learning from this situation? And over the last week, we have spent a lot of time actually processing, talking, having some really interesting conversations about our life-changing events and the situations that we've been put in or we've experienced, and the things that we're really proud of as well. It's like, trying not to dwell on all the bad things, like not bad, like bad, but things that have caused us to, to go, ugh! And that's an okay thing. Like, life isn't supposed to be merry and bright all the fucking time. Like, you can learn your best lessons in those moments, and we've had quite a few of those moments. But some of the things that we're really, really proud of, and some of the things that we've achieved, and some of the things that we've overcome and we've worked really hard towards. And I think about the new music that I've made and the beats that I made. I made like electronic music for the first time ever. I worked tech and I made some music videos. I made a few music videos. I've done video editing that I've not done before, and set up a whole other new channel for sound healing, and I've done some really amazing things that I'm really, really proud of. And I've grown in the negative situations as well as the positive situations. And it got us chatting about New Year, about like, why is January the new year, and all those kinds of questions that kids come up with. And we was kind of talking about how it's not the natural new year, it's like it's a manufactured new year. Like, the calendar that we follow is manufactured. It's not a natural new year. The natural new year is actually in spring. And it is the time when things start to grow and are reborn, and everything's springing up, and seeds start to germinate. And that is actually the best time to start implementing New Year's resolutions. Because obviously, the kids talking about New Year's resolutions. Do you have any? We went and watched some amazing fireworks over the city for New Year's Eve. We kept it really simple. We just went out for a little walk and watched the ones that were going off. It was nice. It was really peaceful and quiet, and it wasn't a big thing. And we started talking about New Year's resolutions. Do you have any? And obviously the conversation came up about it's not the best time of year to implement a New Year's resolution. That's not to say that you can't. It's not to say that you're going to automatically fail. But, because it is helpful. I suppose it's helpful to do it in a group as well. If more people are doing New Year's resolutions together, it is helpful to do it and to have that seen and to encourage each other. So I see the benefit in doing it as a societal, structurally normal thing to do. But with the cycles of the earth and our bodies, winter, the depths of winter, is not the best time to implement a new routine and a new habit, or to cut back on. I suppose you could cut back, but it kind of led on to the conversation about how the structure of society, Babylon, Matrix shit, whatever you want to call it, isn't set up for the average person to win, because it kind of sets you up to fail. And it kind of is an extension of the last video. I think it was the last video that I made about, I can't remember, about how at Christmas we, like, the time that we're supposed to be sort of resting and starting to slow down and recuperate and hibernate and go inwards and work with the dark periods of time, of the seasons. We're supposed to be resting, we're supposed to be pulling back a little bit, we're supposed to be going inwards. And actually, it's the time of year that we make it the most busiest. We go to loads of office parties, and we have to buy loads of presents and go out shopping and mix with lots and lots of people. And actually it's supposed to be time. Ooh. And so we were talking about the structure of society and this enforced calendar and this like artificial new year. And I suppose I'd not really, they were separate like little things in my brain before we had this conversation. Oh yeah, you know, it makes it all like this big thing where you spend all your money and all your energy when you need to be reserving that energy when it's cold and dark, and going inwards. And then it was like, oh yeah, like New Year feels a bit like it's set up to make you fail. Like it's not the best time of year to actually do a resolution. The best time of year is like spring, and when seeds are germinating. And I was like, actually, if you think about it, just after Christmas, so this we have a period of 3 months of winter, December to February, in the Northern Hemisphere, obviously. Switch it around for wherever you live. And the first month, you're busy, right? And so that's the first month of winter. Get all Christmas done and all the New Year. So even if you do choose to not do a lot of people still overindulge with the processed foods and lots of meat and alcohol. And so even if they're not going externally out and spending their energy in that way, their body is still having to make a catch up with having to process all that damaging stuff that they're putting into their body. I'm not saying everybody does that, and it's not a judgment. It's not, you know, society, like I said, is geared up in this way for people to fail, to feel shit, to be unhealthy, to be tired, to be broken. And it's not okay. And we then got onto like, well, yeah, so New Year's resolution. So then as soon as you've done that, you've got these other 2 months where you're trying to like, you're encouraged almost and socially sort of expected to make a New Year's resolution. And it's usually things like go to the gym and eat better. And like, so a lot of people go on diets in the depths of winter when they're supposed to be really, you know, not cutting back too much on their calorie intake. It is cold after all. And then, you know, going to the gym, like, and expending your energy a lot. And I'm not saying don't do that. Like, you know, do what you want. We were just having this conversation about so how people are kind of like coerced into doing all these like go. So like the New Year started, right, let's go, let's get back to work, let's do all these New Year's resolutions, let's do this, let's do that. And actually, again, you're still not given that time to really process your year. You might be given what, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. So you're supposed to process your whole year in one day, in 24 hours. That's not how we've evolved as a species. It's not how, you know, the cycles prompt us to do that. The cycles prompt us to chill out in the winter and to take a bit more stock, to take that time to mentally process, to sleep more, to rest more, to be inwards more, to be inside more and cozy with your fire. And it is supposed to be a time of emotionally processing as well, like so you can integrate all the lessons you've learned, all the things that worked for you over the year and all the things that didn't, all the times that, you know, you might have done really, really well and like, okay, that's working for me. Shit, I didn't act well in that time and space, and then when that thing happened that caused all of this, okay, so maybe I need to restructure how I do things in the up and coming year. So it is a good time to think about it and to contemplate all the habits that you want to change and all the new things you want to do, but it's not a good time to start implementing them. And it just brought us to this subject of like how society is just generally geared up for people to not do very well, to be stressed, to be sick, to be, you know, even if you think about it, veganuary, right? Okay, so there's the illusion of trying to support society into making healthier choices, you know, for the planet, for your body, and all that stuff. But look at the foods that are encouraged to eat during veganuary. Like, obviously we went to the supermarket and my teenagers were like, oh, they've got this, oh, they've got that, oh, look. And it's all junk food. It's all vegan junk food. And and obviously teenagers, you know, you can't force a teenager to think or act in a certain way. It's just, you're just fighting a losing battle. And so try to have these conversations and allow them to make their own decisions. But it was sort of like, well, look at all the foods that are perpetuated. When do you see these foods at any other time of the year? So people like get hooked on vegan junk food and all these vegan nice treats, and then February comes and they all disappear. So basically, those people that have gotten used to these really easy vegan foods are set up to fail. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to go vegan. I'm not saying you have to go vegan. It's just an example. Don't stress. And do what you want. But they are set up to fail. So people that might want to go vegan are encouraged to go vegan in Veganuary and at the new year. All this stuff comes out, all these lovely, yummy, tasty treats that are really, really bad for your body. Yes, they're vegan, but they're still bad for you. And then they have to like go, oh, well, now what am I going to cook? Now what am I going to eat? February's come. Oh, all the tasty treats that I've been used to eating and my body's gotten like addicted to now because it's all that kind of junk food. Oh, right, okay. I'll just go back to eating the normal shit. You set up to fail every time, you know? Set up to fail. And we kind of started to talk about it as a game, really. Because as well, like if you think about it, you've got loads of different New Years that, like, I think I remember a few years ago, me and the kids were looking for some diaries so that they could start journaling their day at the end of the day and thinking back over what they've done so they could process their emotions a little bit better, therefore helping to regulate them. And they couldn't comprehend the concept that there were several different New Years. And they're like, okay, why are there like lots of different diaries that start at different times of the year? And I was like, well, okay, so you've got like a planner thing that's like a January, starts in the societal New Year, the calendar New Year. And then you have the financial New Year for people that are in business, that's from April. And then you have the academic New Year, which is from September. And they were just like, why? I don't know. I don't know why that has been set up. I suppose you could research it. Whether or not the reasons will make sense, they will give you reasons as to why these things are the way that they are. Do they make sense? No, probably not. Who knows? Fuck knows. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, we couldn't quite make sense of why there were several different New Years. And we kind of thought about the whole thing as like a game. It's like when you can break it down and section it off, it's like a game. A bit like Monopoly. Because it's not a fun game to play. It starts off fun and you think, you know, oh, I'm going to win. This is set up for me to win. You know, you all start off on an even keel. But it's not. It's not. The game of society, Babylon, Matrix, the game of life in this fucking manufactured, orchestrated structure that we have that governs what we do. That doesn't make sense. It's like a game. It's like a game of Monopoly. It's not geared up for you to win. I mean, does anybody ever really win Monopoly? You could play that fucker for hours and hours and days, and it never ends. It never ends. It makes you angry. It makes you annoyed. People argue. It perpetuates bad habits. It perpetuates, what's the word I'm looking for? Bad characteristics. It encourages and bad characteristics in people, like greed and spite, and you want to break somebody. That's how it feels when you're playing Monopoly. It feels like you want to break the other people that are playing. And it's not a fun game to play. I don't think me and the kids have ever played a game of Monopoly where it's been enjoyable, where we've all had fun, where somebody's actually won without it being because they've won. It's been because the other players have I've had enough of this. I give up. Right? I quit. Can't be dealing with this. It's just annoying me now. And it's always the person that is left not quitting that is the winner, usually in our house. I don't know how it is with everybody else. And so we likened the game of Monopoly to being like life, and how it's really made for people to get angry and frustrated and waste their energy and their time. And so I said to the kids something that I've actually said for quite a long time, and one of my children put a little bit of a dampener on that. It's been a bit of a catchphrase of mine for a few years now, and it was, the only way to win is not to play. The only way to win is not to play. Is to not engage. And my son turned around and said, yeah, but that only works if everybody's not playing. I was like, what? I was like, well, it only works if nobody's playing that game. I was like, no, because if, say, like, you know, the game, Monopoly, like, we're all sitting in the living room and we're all playing Monopoly, right? And I've decided that I'm not going to play this game today. You guys can play, that's fine. I'm not playing because I know full well that it makes me annoyed, it makes me angry, I get upset, I get stressed. It's, you know, I tend to find that because I'm not trying to be greedy, I'm not interested in winning. Like, I'm interested in having fun. For me, a game is about connecting with the people that I'm playing with. It's about having fun. It's about enjoying ourselves. It's about maybe using a bit of strategy so you get to use your brain a little bit. And that doesn't happen for me in Monopoly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide not to waste my time and my energy. I'm going to decide to, like, you know, not get angry about it. I'm just going to decide to disengage. And what I'm going to do, this is all a metaphor, by the way. Metaphor, why did I put it in those? I don't know, because I did, because I'm tired, I'm cold. I'm going to sit over there with my book, and I'm going to enjoy reading my book, or I'm going to crochet my socks, whatever. I'm going to do something. I'm going to write some music. I'm going to write some poetry. I'm going to do something for myself. I'm going to do something that's not Monopoly, right? There you go. And so there you go. I've won. You guys are all getting annoyed and angry. You're wasting your time. And there you go. I win because I'm not playing. And he said, yeah, but if you think about it, even if you decide, even if, like, the majority of the people in the house decide to not engage with that game, right? I was like, yeah. And they all go and read their books in their little armchairs. I was like, yeah. And there's only 2 people playing Monopoly. I was like, yeah. So if they're sitting there in your earshot, in your energetic space, and they're arguing, shouting, getting greedy, being really, like, loud and raucous and arguing around you, even though you've decided to not engage and not play, that still affects you. I was like, oh, well, yeah, I suppose you're right, actually. So even if you decide to at least try to disengage, you are still going to be affected by those 2 people playing that game. And so I had to find the positive in it somewhere. I was like, no, hang on a second, this isn't right. It can't be that the people that don't engage still lose. This can't be okay. I was quite cross that he'd managed, not with him, but just with the idea that actually he was right. And it felt like no matter what you did, you still didn't win just by virtue of being born into this system that you didn't agree to. It's like being born playing the game of Monopoly and not realizing that you have a choice to step out. But even then, if you step out, you're still affected by the people playing the game. It's like, no, I refuse to believe that to disengage means that you're still losing. I refuse. And so we had a bit of a funny chat about that. It was quite fun. And I said, well, maybe those people that are going over there and reading their book, okay, so they might still be affected by it. Minimally. They are still going to be showing the people playing Monopoly that there is another choice, that there is another way out, that there is another option, right? They don't have to play that game. They can step away from that game. They can disengage. And if enough people disengage and feel empowered and okay enough, to play the game. Because sometimes one person wants to not play the game, but because everybody else is playing it, they're like, oh, I better play the game. Everybody else is playing it. I don't want to be the only person not playing the game, and everybody's be like, oh, you're not playing the game. Oh, you're boring. Oh, you're not playing. And you want to have fun. And actually, if one person just disengages, it shows the other people that they too have a choice. So maybe eventually everybody will stop playing. So I felt quite comfortable that in the end, to disengage is still the best way. But it is hard. It is hard. Like he actually pointed out that it does still affect you. If you disengage from society, and you still have to deal with the people that are in society. You still have to deal with the structure of it. It doesn't matter how corrupt it is. It doesn't matter how fake it is. It doesn't matter how orchestrated and manufactured it is, and how much it doesn't make sense, and how much it's geared up for people to lose and to be energy drained and sick and tired and fucked over. It doesn't matter. You know, you don't get a choice quite a lot of the time. It is very difficult to disengage from that. It's very difficult to step away from that game of Monopoly without being affected by it. And I suppose it's, you know, it's trying to make the best of your space. You know, I suppose you could sit over there, read your book and put some headphones on so you're not affected by that. There are, you know, again, metaphors. And so it helped us to look at the things that we want to implement for ourselves this year. And that's the only place you can start, is with yourself. And looking at the habits that you have that might be perpetuated, encouraged, coerced by society to keep you low vibrational, to keep you sick, to keep you stressed, to keep you living in fear and like zombified. It is difficult to step out of that when your brain is consistently like, I barely engage with anything news-wise, and it still seeps into my reality. It still seeps into, you know, I still happen to find snippets of information that, you know, still make me go, oh, I don't like the sound of that. It does still bring me into that fear space. Especially fucking AI at the minute. Like, that just freaks me the fuck out. Like, I'm not going to get into a whole conversation about that, but just the whole thing just is just weird and bizarre, but whatever. I like humans. I like engaging with actual humans. You know, I like authentic raw emotions. I like authenticity, when even if it means that you're not being your best self. Like, if that's how you've shown up today in your authentic self, great. I don't want consistent logical behavior that feels fake and has no soul in it. But anyway, that's another video. I won't get distracted. But we've been looking at habits that we want to try and kick or implement, like new routines, new habits that will help us to regulate ourselves a little bit better. Habits that maybe we have picked up again because we've had such a stressful year and it has been very tumultuous and intense. There has been a lot to process. And so that's what we've been doing over the last week. And it has meant that I have felt the need to detox a little bit digitally. Yes, digitally. Cold lips. It is getting harder to speak the longer I'm out here. So yeah, we have been looking at the things that we would like to implement in the new year, and the things that we would like to start doing, and the things that we would like to stop doing. Not completely, but just bring them down a little, just reel them in. Look at the times that we are maybe using even like phones as crutches, as something to sort of distract us rather than process it, rather than do something that might be a bit more beneficial for our vessel, for our emotional processing, for our mind. And we probably won't be implementing all of them straight away because, as I said, it is winter. It's a time to take stock, and it's a time to like ease into things gradually and clear up all the shit and like get that gone. Let things die back naturally, cut things out, and then implement new things. So at the minute, we are in the process of cutting some things out. And it's been quite... eye-opening, actually. It's been nice watching the kids have these conversations and come to these realizations. Like, why do we do it this way? Why is it that way? I don't know. I genuinely couldn't tell you why. And the only thing that we could, once we'd like dissected it and stripped it all back, was that it's manufactured in order for people to fail, to feel shit, to get used to failure, to get used to like being let down, to not having willpower. You know, it strips away your ability to make your own decisions, to be empowered. When everybody's doing things at the same time, you then feel like you don't have, well, you can feel like you don't have a choice to step out of that if everybody else is doing it. And it's quite intense. It's not as easy as it seems to just step away from society, to step away from the structure of the Matrix, the Babylon, the government, the way that it's all set up, the system, you know? And, you know, when it gets to the point where teenagers are seeing it and going, this isn't right, this doesn't make sense. What the fuck is going on? Like, why do people do that? Why do people do it that way? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, I don't know, mate. Like, the only thing I can think of is that it's set up to make you fail. That's the only thing I can think of. Is there's no other answer. There's no other answer. And it kind of brings me back to, like, the last song that I wrote, Goodbye Babylon. And the meaning of it and where it came from. And it was thinking about society and, you know, governments, councils, local authorities, the health system, the education system, all of it is massively failing. It's not set up and geared up for people to win. It is not geared up in the best way possible. It could be so easy to implement new strategies and new ways, and it's not. They don't do it. The amount of times that we hear of governments and people in power and local authorities defrauding the system themselves, like skimming money off the top, not putting the money where it belongs, you know, not following their own laws, and nothing ever happens and nobody ever does anything about it. And it's like, how can that be in, like the kids were saying, how can that be in everybody's faces and nobody does anything, nobody says anything, nothing ever happens, you know? It doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense. And what do you do when you're born into it and you have you don't consent to it. You don't consent to these laws that somebody else has made. You don't consent to that. You know, all this shit about privacy and GDPR is bullshit. It's orchestrated, manufactured bullshit. It's an illusion, because if you think about it, how many CCTV cameras are around that have got your image that you don't consent to, them taking? The amount of times fucking Google goes around, like, just filming everyone, and that's perfectly okay, apparently. If I was going around filming people, like, it wouldn't be okay. Like, people would have the right to say, do you mind? Like, I don't want you filming me. Like, do you mind putting your phone away? Can you not, like, can you delete that image, please? I don't want you having an image of me on your computer system, on your phone. But, like, the local authority goes around with these camera cars for public safety, and you don't get to consent to that. You have no choice. You have no choice. Google goes around, takes images, no choice. They've got you all stored on their computers. People have, like, their cameras, their bloody security cameras set up, and you have no choice. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You got people in, like, supermarkets and all sorts now wearing body cams, and they've got your image that's, like, right there. They're taking videos of you. Like, what if someone somewhere hacked all of that and used your images for, like, indecent purposes? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The laws that are set up are very rarely enforced. They don't make sense. The whole system doesn't make sense. And it's very difficult to step out of it. It's very difficult to not engage. It's very difficult to not be in it. And the only place that you can start with is yourself, is the habits that you engage with, that you choose to engage with, is the food that you choose to consume, you know, the content that you choose to consume. And even that's difficult. Like I said, I very rarely engage with any kind of news, with any kind. I don't watch TV, I don't listen to the radio, I don't buy newspapers, I don't buy magazines, I don't have social media other than YouTube. So I am not even consuming, like consenting to consuming that content, and it still seeps into my reality. And so we talked about the things that we wanted to do, not the things that would be socially encouraged or socially perpetuated, at certain times of year. We were trying to look at the things that we wanted to do, not the things that would make it, I suppose, make us look like better people. A lot of times people make New Year's resolutions because there's this concept of what makes you a better person. But what about what you want to do? Like, what are the New Year's resolutions that you want to implement? What are the habits that you want to drop? What are the habits that you want to pick up? What routines do you want to engage with? And what routines do you not want to engage with? It's quite interesting when you sit and actually think about it, the whole structure of reality and the whole structure of society and how it's geared up. And so the point of my video, I suppose, today was that if you are engaging in New Year's resolutions, be gentle with yourself, like genuinely be gentle with yourself. Don't set yourself up to fail. Don't set yourself up to these standards that aren't your standards. They're society's standards. They're not your aspirations. They're society's aspirations that are kind of dangled in front of you, and they appear to be attainable, but actually they're not. It is geared up to set you. It's geared up for you to fail. It's geared up for you to feel like, what's the point? And there is a point. Like, you can implement things that are for you and that are attainable. And my suggestion, how we're going to do it, is that we're going to drop habits off over the winter. We're going to let things go and then pick up new habits in the spring. And I will share with you something that I would like to start doing more of in the new year, is that I would like to start growing more of my own food. I used to do it a lot more in my old garden, and then I struggled to get on with this garden a little bit because it was so wild. It was so wild, and there's so many like trees in this garden that there's not really ground space. There's a lot of tree roots in the actual ground, and I didn't want to cultivate it too much because it was quite wild and free, and it kind of felt a bit And then there was an incident where the wall fell down and it didn't get fixed, and it kind of made it a little bit inaccessible on the side that gets the most sun. So I am going to try harder to make space to grow my own food. That's what I would like to do more of this year. That is a habit that dropped off, and I excused it. I made excuses. I got complacent. I did make excuses about, the garden's this and the garden's that, and really I could have tried harder. I'm going to be a bit more accountable for growing my own food. And I have, utilised the wildness of it, the nettles and the rose petals. There's a lot of roses in this garden. And apples. There's apples and plums, which is nice. But I haven't cultivated those. I haven't, I could utilise the space a lot better. Could utilise, pots more, and that's something that I'm accountable for. So it's not something that is like, like Veganuary, where it relies on society and the supermarkets to do it for me. It is, it is my choice. I'm accountable for this, and it kind of disempowers us to some degree when we rely on external factors to help us and prop us up to make these resolutions, because the second that someone pulls that away, you're like, oh shit, like I was kind of relying on that in order to help me keep this going. And we aren't shown or told how powerful we are as human beings, how strong we are, how capable we are. You know, our willpower has been diminished externally, and not because it doesn't exist, it's because we're kind of made to feel like it doesn't exist, and we do have the strength and the power to say no, you know, or yes, depending on, you know, the side of it, I suppose. And so I want you to be gentle with yourself. I would like that very much. Don't set yourself up to fail. I would really like to hear, you know, if there's anything that you would like to set up and or leave behind in the last year and bring forward in the new year. Yeah, I'm feeling quite positive about 2025. I don't know about you, but I am. The kids are. They're like, you know, I've got a good feeling about this year. I was like, yeah, me too. And so I wanted to spread a bit of that positivity and just check in with you. I know it feels like it's been ages since I last made a video, but it probably hasn't been that long. But it probably, you know, is going to be less videos being uploaded. It's probably, yeah, over the next sort of month or so, as I just take stock. Try to digitally detox a little. Even though I don't use it that much anyway, it still feels like too much for me. And so, yeah, blessings on your new year. I hope you're feeling empowered and strong and capable and feeling excited and enthusiastic for the new year, whenever that happens to be. January, March, April, September. Who knows? Who fucking knows? And I love you very much. Yeah, it's been nice actually thinking about the YouTube channel as well over the year, how that's grown, and all the beautiful interactions that I've had with different people, and the contact in different ways, and hearing different people's opinions and thoughts and perspectives. It's been really nice actually. So thank you. I want to thank you. I want to show my gratitude and tell you how much I appreciate, you know, you engaging with these videos, and how much I've gained from your comments as well, you know, different people's perspectives. You've also made me think. You've also given me new ideas and concepts to ponder on. So thank you. It's been lovely. As tumultuous as 2024 was, it has been amazing in so many other ways. And I can honestly say it can't be as tumultuous as last year. It can't possibly be. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy. And I want to spread that on. So blessings on your day. I love you very much. I'm rooting for you, whatever you decide to do with your New Year's resolutions, whatever you decide to let go, whatever you decide to pick up. Go you. You can do it. You can implement new routines. You can be your best self. It is doable. It might not be easy, but it's doable. And to give yourself grace and compassion when you don't do great, when you don't, you know, just because you failed on one day, that doesn't mean it's an always. Just try again the next day. Try again. Just keep trying. Just keep swinging it. Just keep swinging it. Oh. Mwah.